yeah, we are live. How you guys doing today? Is Magic Monday, and I'm your host, Neil D'Souza, also host of the podcast. So glad to have you guys with us today because we know that today we got the showdown, the throwdown, and we are looking forward to it. Now, before we get to the showdown, let me bring in my co-host, as always, the illustrious Jason Vaz. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Neil. I'm prepped. I'm ready to go, and I'm damn well excited.
You're ready to go. All right, nice. Okay, well, Rocky's in his corner. We'll come back to Rocky, and of course we got our other co-host, our man Marlon Yee. Man, Marlon Yee, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing great, man. I'm doing great. I can't wait to see what the results are in today for Precon versus Resale.
Nice. Well, it's the final countdown. We're looking forward to it. Yes, absolutely, guys. If you're looking forward to that a little later on in the show, we are going to have the showdown between Jason Vaz and Irene Lee, the condo queen. Yes, she's coming up, and she will be joining us. Now, before we get to that showdown, talking about where we're going to look at the differences between pre-construction condos and resale condos. Before we get to that, we want to talk a couple other things. Now, we're going to start off with my man, Jason Vaz, as we talk about for buyers and sellers. Jason, what do you got for us?
All right, Neil. So what we got here is, well, a little surprise. We've seen a hot market over and over and over again. However, when we look at the numbers of firm sales from June of 2021 to the current state of July, we're down about 23%. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. You're thinking, oh my goodness, the market's finally correcting. Newsflash, no. What we need to keep in mind is that in 2020, our spring market, that's usually from March and April, got pushed because everything was locked down. Nothing was moving. We weren't even really allowed to do showings at the same capacity as we are now. So that got pushed to June and July of 2020. So to put that in perspective, in July of 2020, we saw about 8,500 sales. This current July, we're at about 6,500 sales. Now, that being said, you got to keep in mind, guys, that the prior years, we usually have about 6,500 sales in July. So if we compare it side by side, it looks like we're down. But when we look at the broader scale, it looks like things are just back to normal. Same amount of firm sales as we saw before. So guys, be on the lookout. I think in the first week of August, you're going to see a lot of news highlights that say, hey, sales are down from last year. Ignore it. Everything seems pretty good. We're in a pretty good, flush market right now. It seems to be a little bit evening out for the buyer side, but it's still very much in the seller's favor. All right. So that's your news right there for buyers and sellers.
Oh, can I ask you a quick question about that, Jason?
Either way.
So obviously we know that those stats are going to be a little bit skewed because of last year, as you mentioned. But now with regards to this evening out, what can a buyer expect, a buyer or a seller expect right now as they're either trying to acquire a property or looking to sell right now?
Well, we're
in this evening out, what can they expect?
The evening out, it's a slight even out. It's not a major one. So if you're a buyer looking out there, you're still going to be entering into multiple offers. And if you're a seller, you can expect multiple offers. However, what we've noticed is that we're not seeing the 20 offers on a property as the norm. There is the exception. A couple of them are getting that. But it's normally rendering down to maybe 5 to 3. And it's a little bit more predictable when you see what the pricing is. So if a house is worth, say, $900,000, it's not uncommon for seller to put it up for $799. It still ends up getting $900,000. There's definitely no. There's no overpaying right now from what I see. Yeah. You're definitely not going to get any condition on financing or inspection, and that we haven't entered into that realm yet. I don't think we will this year. I think there'll have to be some major changes before we start to see the markets be in a stagnant state.
Okay, great. Thank you, Julian, by the way, for commenting on Jason's post there. We really appreciate it. And we need something to boost up Jason from time to time as well. So thanks, Julian. It's awesome. We're definitely going to have fun here on Magic Mondays while we're at it. And
As
speaking of
always.
which, we know what's coming up is the showdown, the throwdown. But before we get to that lowdown, we got to go with our man, Marlon, with the Marlon Mortgage Minute. Come on, Marlon. Now, this is going to be a little bit more than a minute. You got some good stuff for us.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Neil. Yeah, I got some market stats of what's going on. A lot of people are asking about, where fixed rates and variable rates going, and then opportunities in the market for, current homeowners if you're an investment, or if you're a first-time home buyer. So, oh, there we go. Okay, so this happened maybe about a week or so ago. The Bank of Canada recently announced that they're not making any changes to what they call the overnight lending rate. So just keep it simple for you guys out there. Any changes to the Bank of Canada rate affects any variable product, be it a mortgage, line of credit, anything like that. So this is good news for variable mortgage holders. We've seen the Bank of Canada hold the rate for quite some time. It's quite low. It's at 0.25%. The reason for this is obviously because we're here during COVID. The Bank of Canada said, they're going to continue to do this just because we're still recovering from the lockdowns and the recent restrictions. Next slide. Oh, here we go. So, a lot of money has been saved up during COVID. And of course, some of it is personal savings. Some of it is government money. There's estimated about $200 billion is out there. Recent surveys I've read said, a lot of it's going to be used on spending in the economy, going out for dinners, going to travel, all that. Having said that, there's a lot of people who are putting money towards their mortgages and some are, saving it for a down payment. The Bank of Canada is not going to raise the rates until 2022. As it says here, the bank said it will keep the rate near zero until the economy is ready to handle an increase in rates, which it does not expect to happen until the second half of 2022. Next slide. Okay. They've also reduced their bond buyback program, or what they call quantitative easing. So this is in regards to fixed rates. Fixed rates and variable rates are priced off of different mechanisms. Not to get too technical, but the government of Canada has been buying Canadian bonds, which is driving down fixed rates. When you drive down fixed rates, it's artificial, right? That's why we've seen rates be very low this year, the lowest they've ever been. And having said that, as they stop buying the bonds, the rates are naturally going to go back up to where they should be. So there's a lot of expectation that rates will probably be in the mid threes by next year. But the Bank of Canada says they're not sure when they're going to end the buyback program. But once they do expect the rates to start to hike in the ensuing 12 months. Okay. So big opportunity here for anyone that currently owns real estate and you're looking to buy a property. This is a nice stat I found. It says here the average homeowner has about 76.5% equity in their home. This is the highest level it's been in 30 years. So what is equity? Equity, is your purchase of the value of your property minus your mortgage amount. So in the first quarter, the average price was $677,000. And that means that everyone had a mortgage of $159,000. That means there's many Canadians sitting on the sidelines that have about $500,000 in equity, which is money sitting in their house. So the opportunity I see here for many homeowners, if you want to get involved in real estate, is to refinance your property or take some money out. You can then use that to buy another property. But it's just amazing to see so many homeowners make such good profit on their homes. Now it's time to put the money to work if you're planning to buy investment property or set up for your retirement. Okay, couple of interesting things here. Not surprising though. Single family homes are, sales are starting to slow down, like Jason said. Obviously, that has to do with affordability and qualification. What we're seeing is now that most of the action is going back to the condo market. And this is a natural cycle. As single homes go up, people will come back to the condo market because of affordability. Condo prices will go up. Home prices will come down a little bit, detached. It's a welcome break for everybody, especially first-time home buyers. And also for the policymakers as they wait and see how the market reacts to what's going on out there. Last slide. Good news, rents are up 2.1%. Since COVID started. This is the sharpest increase in 2 years. However, it's way down from the 16% from the peak. Interestingly enough, a lot of people said, things will never be the same wherever you go. But if we look in Manhattan as an example, it's actually seen its largest increase since 2008 in terms of pricing and rent. So, it's actually bouncing back quite well. They've obviously been out of lockdown longer than we are. So it's something for us to look forward to. The Bank of Canada suggests 1 in 4 sales are currently an investment opportunity or investment property, meaning that there are still good investment appetite out there. There's still people who are out there looking for deals. Even though rents may take time to come back because there's a lot of pre-cons being built, a lot of supply coming online, they still feel that investors are being quite aggressive because 1 in 4 is a lot. That's 25% of sales are an investment. And I think that's a good segue for what we're talking today. We're going to talk about condo versus resale, which is better. Can't wait to see what we got.
Yes. Thank you very much, Marlon, with the Marlon's Mortgage Minute, and really helping you guys out understand a little bit of what is going on in the world of finance. And of course, you guys are looking forward to what is about to come. But before we start off that showdown, let's bring in to onto the screen. Let's bring in the condo queen, Irene Lee. Yes. Hello, Irene. Good to have you with us.
Hi, guys. Thanks for inviting me today.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to this because it's like the final countdown right there. We're looking forward to you guys going toe to toe, and just for you guys, I brought my head gear. I'm ready. I'm gonna mediate this, and we're ready to go. Just in case an inadvertent strike while I'm in the ring. Now let me just kind of tell you guys the rules of how this is gonna go down. All right. So like no hitting below the belt. And here's what's gonna happen. Here's the rules. We're gonna have 3 rounds. All right. We're gonna have 3 rounds, and each of you is gonna get a chance to be able to talk on each of the questions. And Marlon and myself are going to ask you guys some questions, and then you guys are going to be able to, one at a time, be able to answer those. And if someone should happen to try to hit below the belt, we will give the opportunity for a rebuttal just in case. So don't worry, Jason, we got your back just in case, Irene. We know that the condo queen hits hard, and we've got your back. We've got a little bit of brotherly love here for you. But at the same time, good luck. Good luck, brother. Irene, you ready to go?
Yes, for sure.
Fighters, you ready? Jason, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. It's the showdown, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to get into... sorry, fix the headset. We're going to get into pre-con condos versus resale. All right, let's start it off. Irene, of course, which last week she was addressing Jason's comments about the speculative nature of pre-con. But question number 1, and Irene, as our guest, and being much prettier than Jason, we're going to give you the first opportunity to address this one. And the question is about buying and financing pre-con. Can you start off and just tell us about what it's like in the world of pre-con when it comes to buying and financing?
Sure. So pre-construction has been very hot in the last, I would say, since 2017. So buying it has sort of caused this, FOMO situation where people are buying like crazy, and it's very, very difficult to get a unit per se. It doesn't even come out to the public, like Jason was mentioning on the last Monday show. But what is beneficial about buying in pre-construction and financing is that it gives the opportunity for people who don't have that 20% saved up to be able to get into the market in today's sort of pricing. Many say that the prices are way more expensive than today's market on the resale, but oftentimes it's very, very marginal. So if you are looking, and what I also encourage some of these clients to do is you can buy in a pre-construction and rent. Like pre-construction is your investment, and then you can rent your principal home so that you still have a property, a real estate investment growing for you, if that makes sense.
All right. Okay. The first shot has been delivered. All right. And Jason, are you ready to come back? Same question to you. When it comes to resale condos, can you address, the buying, the competitive nature of it, and financing on resale condos?
Definitely, definitely. So as Irene pointed out, definitely deposit structures on pre-cons are very attractive. Although you can technically, as a first-time home buyer, spend anywhere from 5 to 20% as a down payment. Marlon can attest to this. Getting approved at 5% is difficult, mainly because, hey, banks definitely put you under a lot of scrutiny. Although CMHC has lowered their credit qualifications, 20% is usually what we're hoping for, although the other options do exist in a limited capacity. That being said, you're also amortizing over 25 years. They have to consider your maintenance fee as well. On the pre-con side, your maintenance fee is usually at its lowest. On the resale side, it's more of a higher value. So from qualifying standpoint, pre-con's much easier to qualify. However, let's keep one thing into perspective. When you're buying a property and it's on the resale market, one of the things I kind of love about it is that you are getting it at current market value. You're closing within 60 to 90 days. So if you see a condo in April and they're going for, say, 900 a square foot, the chances of that price changing drastically in the next 60 to 90 days it's next to impossible. Markets don't shift that quickly. So you're kind of getting what you pay for right there and then, as opposed to what I would say where you're kind of predicting in the future. So again, 5 to 20%, and you're looking at a 60 to 90-day closing when you're looking at the resale side of things. Main aspect to consider, there's also that maintenance fee. A lot of people overlook that.
Okay. All right. Well, so talking about buying and financing, round one, ding, ding, ding. All right. Take a 30-second breather. Okay. We're going to get into round two here. And just getting warmed up. I think they were kind of gentle with one another on that. Now, the condo queen, I know, will probably show up on this one, but we're going to give her the chance to do the rebuttal on this round. So, Jason, for you, question number 2, round 2, resale as an investment purposes, from investment purposes.
So, from an investment purpose, I do favor freehold over condos. However, what I do like is that you can kind of run your numbers ahead of time on the resale side of things. So for example, when we're looking for, like, my philosophy on real estate investing, number one is cash flow. The reality is that I don't like to assume that my clients have this unlimited amount of wealth. Majority of my investors are first-time investors, so we want to make them money along the way. So by having that 3 to 5% cash flow definitely helps. You want to be able to see money going into your account every month, not the opposite. Secondly, as all real estate investing is equity gains. So now when we're looking at the resale market, we can kind of make a prediction. Say we're looking at a condo building, for example, that's been that's been there for, let's say it's been up for 9 years. We're able to kind of say, okay, what are the rental rates in this specific building? Not the area, just this building. So how much has it increased over the years? What's the demand? How quickly do they turn over? So there's a lot more predictability on the resale side of things. As opposed to pre-con, there's a lot of estimates that we're making. The equity gains, if it's gained, you might have 1 year where it went up by 10%, but if we look at the 5-year stretch, if it's more around 6%, we can go with the 6%. Now, again, more predictable gains. Some years will be better than others, but we know what it's averaging out. Now, flipping it back to the freehold side, which is my personal favorite, I love the idea of turning off a home that might originate as a single-family home and converting it to a multi-family home. Very easy way to get instant equity gains and create cash flow. So that's where I look at it when I'm looking for real estate investments for my clients, and that's kind of the philosophy that I follow.
Okay. All right. A bit of a redirection, I think, strategy put in place there. I'm going to put this back on Irene, condo queen. What do you have to say about that? The question again is from Precon, from an investment purposes standpoint. And you're muted, Irene.
The ref has skewed the
results.
results.
No response. Jason has silenced the condo queen. What is going on here? Pandemonium is breaking out. Okay, Irene, come on, bring it to us.
So I wanted to say, first off, I agree with Jason that real estate is a great investment, whether it's resale or pre-construction. However, pre-construction is definitely the way to go, because when you are getting into an investment, you are not living there. You are banking on that rent that you are receiving to be able to carry that investment for you. And the less money you have to put into it every month, the better the investment is for you. So let me address that first. If you're buying a condo, like you said, 9 years old, you get to predict this, that, and the other thing. The problem is everybody who is an avid investor got into that condo 9 years ago. Our carry costs are going to be significantly less than the investor who buys it 9 years later, which means rental rates for us could be $2,000, and on the appreciated price, you're going to have to get $3,000 a month to be able to carry that mortgage, the tax, et cetera, right? So in that situation, anytime you try to get something, you may be able to squeeze it out during, that little bit of time we had during COVID, when everybody was panicking and they were selling it for less than market prices. However, if you are going in a healthy market, there's no way that you can buy on a resale and cover your carry costs on today's market rents. Number two, if you buy a pre-construction, a lot of people would argue, hey, I'm putting my money somewhere and it's not doing anything for me. Well, we are actually able to gain on the appreciation without having to carry that interest rate that we have to carry on a mortgage for 3 to 5 years. If you're going to live in there, it's a different story, because you have an expectation and you want to get in there on a certain date. But the longer that pre-construction takes, whether it's 3 years or 7 years, that money that you've invested in that property, we can look back 20 years. On average, we're always moving up, right? As long as we're beating inflation, we're still making money, right? So that's what I actually would argue that pre-construction is a better investment than the resale. And just to touch upon the freehold versus the condominium market, you're right. If you can buy a detached home, change it into a triplex or a duplex, it's definitely a great opportunity. However, carrying a freehold, that's a big chunk of change, number one. And it's much more difficult to rent those out than a condominium, where you're going to see 2-3 offers come in, right away, right? So for the investor, that's the average investor who, we don't want to be thinking about vacancies. We don't want to be thinking about paying that extra $500. The condominium and the pre-construction avenue, I think, is the better way.
Love it. Okay. Round 2, ding, ding, ding. It's there. Okay, now we're going into round 3. My man, Marlon, can you set us up for round 3?
Yeah, round 3. So we're going to change it up a little bit. Obviously, we're looking at everything from an investor perspective. How do you answer this now if I tell you, well, I want to buy the Precon or I want to buy the resale, but it's not for investment. I want to live there. Which one's better for me or for the average person out there?
Jason.
Alrighty. This obviously comes down to the individual. In my experience, I have clients that definitely want a condo, usually working, living downtown. That's the reason. Like, no one can afford a $3 million townhome in downtown, so they elect a condo. It's the logical choice. However, this is where things change. When we're looking at the Precon side of things, you don't know what you're getting into. We have a few, I won't say this is the norm, this is definitely the exception, but there are a few examples downtown of pre-construction condos that have really gone bust. 36 Liscar, if you live there, my hat goes off to you, because that's a pretty sad place to live. And you can see the expression that Irene gave, like, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But that's the thing, is that you don't know. You can't make that. We can't predict the future. We don't know who else is buying in there, unless we want to break the law and like look at who the agreement purchase and sales are. However, when we're looking at the resale side of things, although something might look fantastic, it's my job as a realtor to say, hey guys, there's a judgment against this place. They're being sued for a slip and fall. This could impact your enjoyability there, because maintenance fees could go up. So in my perspective, the other thing too is that I'm one of those. Some of you are a little different. I'm one of those people that I like to physically see what I'm buying. I say that from a guy who bought his house and never saw it. But if I had it my way, I'd like to see it ahead of time and experience the walkthrough. And I can see a lot of buyers enjoying that side. Now, however, I can also appreciate the idea of buying new. You know, it's like just like there's a new car smell, there's a new home smell. It's kind of nice to sit on a toilet knowing no one else has ever sat on it. So I can see both sides of it. The only thing is walking through the experience of it all. I think the average buyer can appreciate being able to physically look and feel what it's like to live in a place before making what's going to be the biggest purchase of their life. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I stand on the whole thing. Is that I see both sides, but I obviously skew a little bit onto the resale side. Got it.
Well, we're clearly not CNN. But you get to be the first to sit on your own toilet. Love it. Thanks. I really appreciate that.
That is something that's like a
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? All right. Come on. The Condo Queen, this is where you get to show up and show out. What's your thoughts on if you're actually you want to live in the property?
So I would have to agree with Jason. It's a personal preference at this point. When you're going to live somewhere, I also think that the resale might be, what people are looking for, because you don't really, unless you're somebody who is leaving your parents' home and you're trying to plan for the next 4 or 5 years or something like this comes up. But on a pre-construction, you're just unsure of when that occupancy or final closing date is going to be. So it's got to be somebody who is transient and who is able to just make those extensions or pull it up as the developer insists. However, I just wanted to rebut a couple points that you had said, Jason. You're right. You can absolutely look at their condo docs and see that if there was a slip and fall, that you're going to have to pay more maintenance fees. However, just because you buy resale doesn't guarantee that someone's not going to slip and fall the next day and you're going to have that suit against your condominium, right? So that sort of thing to me is really just a chance you're going to have to take when you're purchasing a home, a condo, whatever it may be. What else did you say? You're right. There are some condos that I do think, oh my goodness, what happened to this condominium? But I think that's more of an educated, not a guess, or, you're not assuming. It's an educated decision that you make. You understand that some pre-construction condos are going to be a little bit less because of the neighborhood and the demographic of the people who live in that neighborhood currently. It's never going to change in 5 years. You're going to continue to have that demographic there, right? So I think you can judge on that, number one. And number two, you can really understand what the quality of the building is going to be based on the developer. So if you are working with a pre-construction agent who is well-versed in the types of developers that are out there, we also have Terrion to fall back on. There's a lot of different, tools that we can use to make a educated decision. It's a calculated risk, right? And there also are pre-construction condos that are for, I would say, more investment-based purchasers, and some that are going to be a little bit more expensive, like you said, but they're boutique and they're for end users, right? Like in Hazelton, they have like a 7-story condo that you're not going to invest in there. Who's going to be able to rent something that's going to be $25,000? You might get an athlete here or there, but that's more for the end user who wants to live in that sort of property. So I think it's a personal choice at the end of it, but those are my points.
Ding, 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 ding. I think we're ready. Okay, that's round 3. Let's go into the judges' scorecards. Guys, I want you guys to put into the comments your thoughts on the 3 rounds. Ayanna, thank you very much. She thanks you guys for the updates. Guys, please go ahead and put in the comments whatever you think about the Condo Queen or Jason, and with regards to resale versus Precon. We want to know your thoughts there and any questions that you have as well. As for you two guys, thank you very much. You guys did a great job talking about those 2 items. Now, Irene, I really want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate the Condo Queen coming in and addressing and going up against, we know, our very own wizard here, in Ontario. Jason Vaz is a bit of a handful. But let me ask this to you, Irene. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do as and how you even got the nickname as the Condo Queen?
So I've tried to change it to Condo Coach, but I think that the reason I got the nickname as Condo Queen was when I first started, instead of just chasing, one condo here, one condo there for my clients, I sort of made a network of investors, and we invested 20 investors here, 40 investors in a condo. So I sort of fell upon this title as Condo Queen because I was selling in larger numbers at the beginning. It's a lot more difficult to do it that way now, just because the prices of condos are very, very expensive, right? So, even if we get 5 or 6 condos in a specific project, you still have leverage of, numbers, but it's not the same as when it was 20 units at a time. What I do for my clients, though, is basically share, just sort of, this is a small taste of what we do, but what we do is we share what I've done wrong. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I was an investor first. So I've made a ton of mistakes that I can share with my clients. And everybody's different. You can't walk into a barbershop and say, give everybody the same haircut, right? And it's exactly the same. So we have Marlon actually helps me on the mortgage side. He's part of our team that would sit down with the client and just look at their portfolio. And then we're able to give them sort of step-by-step look into what their investment could be based on the history of the investments we've already decided on before. Yeah. We're just trying to help people make money. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, we got a question for you. Can I assign a lease during interim tenancy? Is that a question you want to take on right now?
Sure. So you just want to assign your lease during interim occupancy. I mean, that would definitely be something that you have to speak with your landlord for. As long as the landlord is okay with it, you can definitely assign during interim occupancy.
I think what he was referring to is when he's purchased a condo and you have that interim occupancy where you're renting it off of the builder. Can he assign it to someone else? I think that would jump from, depending on what your deal is with the builder. Really, it can be worded so differently. There's not a one size fits all. So it's kind of it's a difficult question. You probably have to see the lawyer who closed the deal.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
if you can do an assignment during that period, you know what?
But not an assignment of the unit, assignment of the lease. So rent it out to someone else during interim occupancy. It depends. Each deal's different, Each building's different. Each condo's different. Some don't charge you for assignments, some do.
But assigning a lease is okay. Assigning a lease is okay. It's assignment of the property that has tax implications and stuff. This would just be, like you said, you just go ask your agent, approach the builder, and oftentimes it should be fine.
Yeah.
Great question. Well, Irene, if people want to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you?
Sure. So can I leave my contact with the show? I'm not sure how it works.
Absolutely. We'll leave it in the notes. We'll put it into the comments.
Put it on the comments.
Yeah, perfect.
I want to add something here, Neil, really quickly before that.
Yes.
I want to say, anyone who's watching this, Irene, someone I have a tremendous amount of respect for. There are a lot of agents that focus on pre-construction that do it for the wrong reasons. One thing I love about Irene is that she's in a position where she picks and chooses her projects for her clients. A lot of the comments I made was for Precon in general. However, there's good and bad. And I can say wholeheartedly that Irene definitely cherry picks which projects she works on so that for her clients, they're all success stories. A lot of the examples we gave, like 36 Liscar, terrible project. I can say with confidence that I know for a fact Irene's never put a client in there. I will never put a client in there. And that's why she was chuckling when I mentioned it, because again, as a whole, there are these projects, but a seasoned veteran like Irene can definitely see it a mile away. So you're good with someone like that.
Wow. Well, see, that just goes to show you when you go toe to toe with someone that you end up having a certain amount of respect for them. Now, let me just ask this quick question, Irene, as we end off. I hear there's talks about potentially a show in the works for you? Can you tell us a little bit? Can you give us any details at this point in time, or what's going on?
So
Is the Condo Queen coming to the market?
So after I've been watching your show for a couple of weeks, I thought, you know what, this is actually really fun, educational for people, and so I did reach out to a social media expert to put something together. We don't have the meat and potatoes together yet, but absolutely we will be. I will be starting to put a show together shortly.
Love it. Well, guys, the Condo Queen, or sorry, the Condo Coach. The Condo Coach is coming out soon. So we look forward to seeing and maybe even promoting more of that in the future. So thank you.
I'd love
Thank
to see you guys
as
there too.
always.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. There you go. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Magic Mondays. On behalf of myself, your host, and our co-hosts, both Jason and Marlon, and our special guest today, Irene Lee. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys next week.